What goes on here in Israel would not go on in the United States. Never. I just take a second on this. In the Reform movement, in the conservative movement, they all have bylaws that they will not work with the Messianic movement, and that's capital M, who are evangelical fundamentalist Christians who use Jewish terminologies, conventional Jewish liturgy and symbols and icons in order to bring Jewish people to know Jesus in a Jewish way. There's no separation over here. I help the conservative movement write the bylaws that they can't have any connection with the Messianic movement, whose whole purpose, its raison d'etre, is to evangelize Jews.
And my heart's desire that all Israel should be saved, because I'm not ashamed of the gospel. It's the power of God to salvation to the Jew first.
The Reform movement will not permit anybody in the Messianic movement to be involved in any aspect of their education. In the United States, this is like, everybody gets that. I mean, that's like bare minimum. But here you have missionary groups, you have evangelical Christians that are partnering with the Jewish agency.
Extremely amazing. I mentioned before that there was this partnership with the Jewish agency. They are now partnering with the Aliyah Return Center, who's a Christian organization headed in this country by a Messianic Jew. It's astounding, okay? It's astounding.
With centers for New Olim, absorption centers, lone soldiers, which means soldiers coming from abroad to Israel to be part of the IDF, that are run by Messianics.
Right now, we have 21 lone soldiers up there from Canada and the United States. They have no family that have made Aliyah, so they came by themselves, and they're going to spend their first 3 years serving in the IDF. So on the weekends, they need family. We're their family.
And over here, we fixed this building up for Jewish agency representative to come. There's one guy, and he comes there, and he's like a liaison to the Jewish agency, the largest Aliyah organization in the planet Earth. And so they are actually the ones who send us the immigrants to take care of and send us the lone soldiers, the agricultural school people. And here you can see there's lone soldiers. They don't have a home. They don't have any family here. You can see some pictures of them. You can see the hands of Yeshua holding the Sea of Galilee. Look at that. Beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
What goes on here would never go on in the Reconstructionist movement. They would never cross that line. There's no mechitza, there's no distinction in any of the denominations vis-a-vis that everyone understands that the Messianic movement is completely given over to evangelizing Jewish people.
Go check out the Aliyah Return Center. It's a great opportunity to get involved in a practical way here in restoring the land of Israel and helping bring the good news to the Jewish people, which is the most important thing.
So what are we talking about here? Talking about salvation. Talking about all Israel will be saved. The great Jewish revival we all pray for and work for, the time when all Israel will be saved, is connected over and over again in God's word with their physical return to the land, between the physical return followed by spiritual restoration.
And one other point that needs to be made is that everybody knows the dog whistles. Everyone should know that evangelical Christians never say that we want to convert Jews to Christianity. No one says that ever. I mean, no one has said that, used that phrase in 60 years. It's out of fact. We all know what they mean.
The perception of most Israeli Jews and most Jews from around the world that a Jewish person who believes in Jesus, in Yeshua, is no longer a Jew. They become a Christian. And if you ask any Messianic Jew in the world, they will tell you that's absolutely not true.
And therefore, it's astonishing that Jewish organizations are partnering with Messianic groups whose own educators that they bring in say and explain that we don't want to convert Jews to Christianity. We want them to become Messianic Jews. And the caveat is they say with their own words that Jews believe that converting to Christianity means that you're no longer Jewish. So that's why we use become a Messianic Jew, a completed Jew, fulfilled Jew. And then strangely, they'll say, you know, Jewish people who become Messianic learn more about their Jewishness after they become Messianic.
They're more Jewish than they were before they accepted Yeshua, and they're more Zionistic, and they love the country, and they love God, and they love His Word more than ever. Jewish people are afraid to accept Yeshua if it means they're not going to be Jewish anymore, and it doesn't mean that at all, and we need to change that perception.
Again, they would never say this, become Christian. So I just want to make another point. In virtually all cases, the person who succeeds in converting a Jew to Christianity, evangelizing them, witnessing to them. We have characters here in Israel say, I'm not converting Jews, I'm just witnessing to them. I'm not kidding. And like everybody knows that's the same thing. Like we all know, like, what is this? This is like 3-card Monte? We're not converting them. We had Ward Simpson here saying that I don't want Jews to convert to Christianity, I want them to become Messianic Jews. Evangelism never happens on the professional level. This is what like no one is getting. That means David Brickner is the head of Jews for Jesus right now, okay? To mine, I don't know of a single Jew that he personally converted to Christianity. I don't know of one. Now, I'm not saying there isn't. I never heard of it. The people who run Messianic congregations, they themselves, they would like to evangelize others, but they're usually just unable to do it. The damage they do is they run Messianic congregations that attract non-Jews. Evangelicals attend them, and they learn how to effectively evangelize. So the way it works is not like this person who's running a Olim program. That person doesn't actually do the converting. That person trains volunteers who then go out into the country and spread the gospel.
Everything that's going on here, even if you notice most of the people here are not believers, but the believers are behind it and running the whole charity here.
I know of cases where they find out that someone is running a program at the Jewish Community Center in Philadelphia. They were out the door in a second. This just could never happen. That means everybody gets that. But somehow here, they're missing this point. And it's a very, very dangerous thing because these people believe that in order for Jesus to make a second coming, the Jews have to be here in the land of Israel and they have to accept Yeshua as their Messiah. That triggers the second coming.
The physical return, followed by a spiritual return, accompanied by worldwide spiritual awakening and the pouring out of God's Spirit on Israel and the nations, is a precondition for the very return of Messiah, Yeshua, to the earth. Yay. Yay.
We live in the most exciting time since the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
The revival that we believe, according to the words of the prophets, will bring the return of our Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus.
He is gathering the Jewish people from the 4 corners of the world, all with the intention of restoring this land and this people. Ultimately, restoring this land and people to welcome Yeshua the King.
They're not here just to pick grapes and, to build. They're here to bring the gospel to the Jews. They can witness by example and by training others how to effectively speak to the Jews. And the people running the program have the plausible deniability saying, we're just bringing evangelical Christians, and it's part of our faith. And what they do, I don't know what they do. So what is going on here? And the fact that they're partnering with official agencies of the Jewish state that are supported, unbeknownst to Jewish communities in the United States, in Canada, and throughout the world, they are supporting huge agencies here in Israel that are, not that are looking the other way, turning their back, no, that are partnering with these groups that are run by evangelicals and by Messianics.
The government started to notice and they're sending us people. They actually approached us. Would you like to work together on a project? If you're willing, we want to really give you the approval. You're no longer just this Aliyah Return Center unknown ministry. You now have the backing and the approval, almost the kosher stamp of the government.
Wow.
They come here. The evangelical Christians are here and they love it here in Israel. It's not just evangelical Christians, but they're Catholics and Eastern Orthodox. They're all coming. The place is filled with them. It's one thing, that there is one line don't cross, and that is, do not engage in any practice that seeks to evangelize Jews. Don't train volunteers how to witness to Jews and then create a plausible deniability, and using language like, you could do those things, but if you do them, then obviously the offense is going to be great. We know what you're up to, means I know what you're up to, and light is going to be shed there.
It's time to pray for the restoration of all things in preparation for the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords to take his rightful throne in Jerusalem.
We really have our hands full.